All right, greetings. Groups, factions, and stables have always helped the product of the WWE move, serving to many superstars as a launch into superstardom. A prime example being The Rock, who was a part of the Nation of Domination and the Corporation. Although you had some really good teams and stables, you also had some duds. Asking yourselves, what the fuck were those geniuses in WWE creative thinking? So we're here to discuss 5 of the worst factions of WWE's previous era. You may agree or disagree, but we hope you enjoy nonetheless what we compiled here. Let's get started. Number 5, the Spirit Squad. Nikki, Mitch, Johnny, Kenny, and Mikey. Probably the most athletically gifted group on this list. But what's the worst is probably one of the greater examples of underutilized talent, which the formation of this group would only ultimately serve as the catalyst that broke out Dolph Ziggler, who was branded Nikki at the time. The plan was to make Kenny the breakout, but bad creative decisions, and most of all, Kenny got caught up in the SmackDown mid-card era, which almost killed the brand, which would lead to his eventual release, which would make his crowning achievement in the WWE dating Mickie James. Johnny had that one kick that eventually would be used by Kofi Kingston, I believe, but just no it factor. As such was the case with Mitch and Mikey, whom themselves being pure athletes would go on to do other things. They weren't bad. I mean, they were funny, and they did fit their storyline purposes, but I'll say this, at least Dolph was able to have championship success, but a shame overall because they might be the most athletically talented group on this list. So let's find out. Number 4, the Oddities. I'm just gonna level with you guys. I just hated this packaging. I get it. WWE was ahead of the curve, making the statement that being different can be fun, but from a fan's perspective, I thought it was just goofy and out of place. They did nothing with these guys, but make them a sideshow, literally. I mean, you had Giant Silva, you had Kurgan, and you had John Cena, aka Goga, who was once Earthquake. So that was puzzling to me. Luna Vachon, one of the most intimidating female wrestlers, reduced to a kid-friendly face, and RIP to the 2 I just previously mentioned. I mean, it started out as a heel group led by the Jackal, who was released and went to Paul Heyman's ECW. But then you give them the insane clown posse, with interest music and all. And ICP actually coming to the ring with them. I mean, they tried so hard to be wrestlers, but it just never worked. Also around that time, there were the interests of them being giants. They were just the interests of really 2 big men that would be significant to the incoming Attitude Era. So, one being sort of an oddity himself, the monster known as Kane. So after that, there was just no room for him. And like I said, not to mention the birth of the Attitude Era, getting caught up in that as well. A gimmick like the Oddities could no longer maintain, and let me be brutally honest, I just did not like them anyway, so no loss. Number 3, X Factor. The worst about these guys were they were just plain bland. Nothing special, no seasoning, raisins in the potato salad. This is Sean Waltman with no NWO or DX, just incredible with no ECW or Impact players, Albert with no beastly Japanese run as Giant Bernard. Look, they had absolutely no chemistry, and creatively, they just sucked. The group's demise mercifully came with the formation of the WCW ECW Invasion storyline of 2001. Putting these guys together was a horrible idea. Their entrance music was by Uncle Kracker, a popular band at the time, which I'm not a fan of, but that's it. They were just utterly useless. Number 2, Right to Censor. Now, this group was symbolic of WWE's transition out of the Attitude Era and into an era that, in my estimation, almost killed SmackDown. The worst was what they did to the Godfather. Come on now. The faction was led by a guy who would have zero hope of ever becoming a world champion, and Bull Buchanan, who couldn't fit in anywhere he was placed. I understand the group's existence, but think about this though. The best thing about Right to Censor was Jim Ross called it Steven Richards' White Sox. And the number 1 group on this list, and probably the worst out of all of these guys, the Mean Street Posse. Rodney, Pete Gas, and Joey Abs. Although this was a semi-funny group, these guys had little to no wrestling training, nor they were just that horrible. Branded from the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut, they were brought in as best friends / cronies to the boss's son, Shane McMahon. First, it was just Rodney and Pete, but they looked like a joke, literally, so they added Joey Abs as the muscle to make them look somewhat legit, but their in-ring awareness was just a little worse than garbage. They were placeholders, time slots that were better utilized by talent who were way more athletic and entertaining. But if you need evidence of entitlement amongst snobs, these guys were definitely the example. Watching the asphalt grow is better than watching these guys in the ring. Literally. So, do you guys and gals agree with this list? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Were there any groups I missed that you thought should have been included? Do you agree with the choices? After all, this is based off opinion, but I agree with it. Okay, you have been pulled into the black dimension. Good luck finding your way out. Till the next time.